The Golden Mask. In 1922, deep within Egypt's Valley of the Kings, a flicker of candlelight pierced a darkness that had lasted 3,000 years. Howard Carter peered into the antechamber and uttered the famous words, "I see wonderful things." The man funding this expedition, the man whose passion and wealth made the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb possible, was George Herbert, the 5th Earl of Carnarvon. And while the world marveled at the Golden Mask, artifacts from that very dig were quietly shipped across the Mediterranean, not to a museum, but to the Earl's private home, Highclere Castle. The irony is rich. Egypt's greatest treasure discovered by an English lord. But Highclere's greatest treasure isn't the gold that came back. It's the story of the home itself, the castle and its keepers. To understand that story, we need to rewind. Highclere's history with the Carnarvon family begins in 1679, but the castle we recognize today is a 19th century creation. Sir Charles Barry, the architect behind London's Houses of Parliament, was commissioned to transform the older house into a masterpiece of Victorian neo-Gothic grandeur. He gave it the towers, the turrets, and that breathtaking entrance hall that feels less like a room and more like a cathedral. This is the architectural stage, but a castle is defined by its people. This is where the reality diverges from the fiction of Downton Abbey. While the fictional Crawley family navigated scripted drama, the real Carnarvons were grappling with the immense responsibility of a living, breathing estate. Today, that duty falls to George Herbert, the 8th Earl of Carnarvon, and his wife, Lady Fiona. They aren't absentee landlords. They are active, hands-on managers. Lord Carnarvon is a dedicated conservationist and farmer, deeply involved in the 5,000-acre estate's agricultural operations. Lady Fiona personally orchestrates the public-facing side, the tours, the weddings, the events that help fund this monumental undertaking. The sheer scale of daily life here is staggering. It takes a small army of staff, gardeners tending to the grounds designed by the legendary Capability Brown, cooks preparing meals, and maintenance crews preserving the historic fabric of the building. This isn't a museum frozen in time. It's a working home, a business, and a piece of national heritage all at once. The glamour of the staterooms exists alongside the practical reality of upkeep, a balance the family has maintained for over 3 centuries. A stage for history, parties, power, and scandal. And what a stage it has been. For generations, Highclere's salons have echoed with the conversations of kings, prime ministers, and titans of industry. The castle has a long tradition of legendary gatherings, lavish parties where the social and political elite would converge. King Edward VII was a frequent guest, his presence signaling the castle's place at the heart of Edwardian high society. Decades later, Winston Churchill would walk these halls, and even Queen Elizabeth II has been a visitor. These events were spectacles of opulence, with music, dancing, and impeccable service. But behind the public glamour, the walls of Highclere have witnessed their share of private intrigue and scandal. The estate was a backdrop for the complex social maneuvers of the era, where fortunes were made and lost, reputations were built and shattered, and political alliances were forged in the drawing rooms. The architecture itself facilitated this dance, the grand staircase for dramatic entrances, the library for confidential conversations, the vast dining room for displays of power and wealth. Yet this world of privilege existed alongside the private life of the family. The same corridors that hosted monarchs also saw the quiet, everyday moments of the Carnarvons. This contrast is key to understanding Highclere. It was never just a public venue. It was, and is, a family home. The scandals that might have made headlines were, for the family, personal challenges navigated within the context of their duty to the estate. This duality, the magnificent public face and the resilient private core, is what has allowed Highclere to endure through centuries of change. The basement's secret, the Egyptian collection. While the ground floors of Highclere represent the pinnacle of British society, a descent into the basement reveals a completely different identity. one forged in the heat of the Egyptian sun. The fifth Earl's passion for Egyptology wasn't a casual hobby. It was a deep, scholarly pursuit. After a serious car accident, his doctors recommended he winter in warmer climates, which led him to Egypt. There, he found a new purpose, funding excavations and eventually forming a historic partnership with the archaeologist Howard Carter. Their search for a royal tomb, specifically that of the boy king Tutankhamun, was considered a long shot by many experts. But the Earl's persistence and Carter's meticulous work paid off in that legendary moment in 1922. While the most spectacular finds went to the Egyptian Museum in Cairo, the terms of the excavation allowed a division of the objects. This is how genuine artifacts from the tomb, pottery, funerary items, beautiful Shabti figures, found their way to the castle's cellars. The Egyptian exhibition today is a hidden gem, a tangible link to one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in history. It represents a side of the Carnarvon legacy that is global, adventurous, and intellectually curious, a stark contrast to the very English grandeur upstairs. Tragically, the Earl never saw the full fruits of his labor. He died in Cairo just months after the tomb's opening, fueling the myth of the curse of the pharaohs. But his legacy lives on in this quiet, atmospheric collection. It's a reminder that Highclere's walls contain more than just British history. They safeguard stories of a much older world. War, crisis, and an unlikely revival. This ability to adapt and serve has been crucial to Highclere's survival. The castle's role during the World Wars fundamentally changed its character. In the First World War, it was transformed into a hospital for wounded soldiers, its grand rooms converted into wards. Just a generation later, during the Second World War, it became a safe refuge for children evacuated from London, offering sanctuary from the Blitz. These chapters stripped away the glamour, revealing the estate's core strength, its utility, and its duty to the nation. The post-war years, however, brought a different kind of challenge. The immense financial burden of maintaining a vast historic estate in the 20th century was staggering. Many similar houses were demolished or fell into disrepair. Highclere faced a genuine crisis. Salvation arrived from a most unexpected place: television. The global phenomenon of Downton Abbey didn't just bring tourists, it brought a new purpose and a vital financial lifeline. The show's success allowed for essential restoration work and secured the castle's future, proving that sometimes pop culture can be a powerful force for preservation. Conclusion: more than a set. So Highclere Castle endures, not as a frozen monument or a mere film set, but as a living, breathing symbol of layered history. It's a unique intersection where family legacy, global exploration, and contemporary culture meet. It's a home that has hosted kings and convalesced soldiers, safeguarded Egyptian treasures, and raised children during war. That is the real story behind Downton. A story of resilience, adaptation, and the ongoing effort to keep history alive. To walk its halls is to experience that history for yourself. If you enjoyed this, please like the video, subscribe, and explore our other history deep dives. Every week, Time Teller Chronicles uncovers the real stories behind the legends for you.